What are some other things that are on the horizon for you that you would like to do? I mean, you've been in obviously some brilliant productions. You've had an opportunity to dabble in television, in film, incredible productions on stage, on Broadway and off Broadway, and regional and national tours. Do you have other things, other projects, other productions, other things that Josh sees going forward that you still want to be a part of, and maybe people you'd love to work with?
Oh my, well, the list of people
That's a
I'd love to
biggie,
work
right?
with is too long to count. There's so many people I'd love to work with, but um, uh, yeah, more and more, and I hate to say, one of the reasons I came to LA is because um, I love working on television. I really do, and that's not everybody can say that. For a lot of people, being on set is a draining, slow moving annoyance. And and I totally get that, that it's not for everybody, but I love the pace of it. I love the collaboration of it, because unlike on stage where I have ultimate control over my entire performance, at the end of the day, whatever I do on stage is what it is for that night. On film, the actor becomes sort of a color palette. You can do the scene in 20 different ways, and then a director and an editor will get together and craft a performance out of what you've given them. And there's something fascinating about that, and there's sort of a release that you have to a release into that you have to give over to into saying, I give you all of these elements, and I trust you to make a performance. And that's hard, because sometimes you're gonna love what they do, and it's gonna make you look fantastic in your own eyes, and sometimes you're gonna despise the version of you that they concocted, the Frankenstein scene that they make. But there's some thrill that I get out of that, of seeing, well, how do other people interpret my work and craft a character out of it. It's just, there's something that right now is fascinating me about that. And I also have gone in this new direction of, unlike a lot of my academic peers, I have to say, that celebrate more niche theater, celebrate theater of the oppressed, and the stuff that's happening in parking lots, and really interesting, nuanced stuff in the basements of buildings, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I look at the power that a big old commercial success like Black Panther has to change the way people think. To change the way people perceive stories, and to perceive one another, and whatever. And that's a big old goofy comic book movie. It has no right, in the way we think of it. That's the thing that changes people's hearts and minds and makes them rethink things. And I feel like there's a power and a responsibility in big commercial storytelling, like major motion pictures and television, that we often ignore, to our peril. And I think that to be a part of that storytelling, I'm thrilled by that idea, to affect millions of people, who allow you to come into their home, and tell you jokes on their TV and in their living rooms once a week. That's a special type of privilege, and a special type of responsibility that I don't know, I celebrate, I get excited about, and not everybody does. Some people are like, oh, sitcoms, I don't want to. But I feel like being able to laugh with people
is terrific right now, more than ever. It's very healing, and people.
It's very healing.
Hey, like we said, look at I Love Lucy. I mean, how long that's been around, on basic, relatable, the honeymooners. I mean, basic, relatable things that people just connect with. The comedy, the Dick Van Dyke Show. I mean, these are staples of classic television, and the comedy, Friends. I mean, all the different ones over the years, Seinfeld. So do you favor comedic over dramatic, or whatever it is, stage, film, television? Does your personality lean more comedic than dramatic, or are you equal with both?
I 1,000% lean comic. Like, my instinct in life is comedy. I feel like it's
funny.
But it's part of its coping mechanisms, but part of it is, I really think, that's why I think somebody like George Carlin was such a powerful comedian, is because he was tackling some very heady ideas, but when you can do it with through comedy, we are much more open to hearing people preach through the lens of comedy than we are any other. We don't trust politicians or even preachers anymore, the way that the old school version may have. But we do allow comedians in. We do allow their voices space to be heard. And if we don't like it, we can just say, oh, they're just making jokes and they don't know what they're talking about. But sometimes they say stuff that, boom, pops these things. And we have allowed that in. And I feel like there's a reason for that. Comedy has a very special place. And, you know, I use that Jeff Daniels talked about this and gave me this idea, but I've held on to it for so long about, we have two masks that represent this industry, a comedy mask and a tragedy mask. But so much we only focus on the tragedy because that's the real acting. It's when you play Hamlet that something is where we have to recognize it and make it special. But no, that's not what the emblems tell us. Like, there's an equal power to comedy that is under respected, you know. But I think it's probably the most powerful thing.
And not so easy too. I mean, a lot of dramatic actors that attempt comedy say, my God, that's a lot harder than I thought it would be to actually be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people, it's not their thing. And, you know, again, you need everybody at the table. Everybody has a place in the industry, but I'm happy to take that mantle up and say, yeah, no, I love making people laugh, and I love laughing. Like, I love smiling. I love laughing. And that is my MO. And at the end of the day, I've always said this about myself. Maybe it's a cop out because I am the worst at laughing on stage when somebody makes me break character. But at the end of the day, I just think, you know, life is short. Yeah. And when I get to the end of my life, the last thing I want to say is I didn't laugh as much as I could have. I want to say I got every laugh that the universe sent my way. I took everyone because you need it.
Well, I found, you know, doing a little research, I found one of your more recent headshots. And it proves exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, that's it. That's
the
it.
Spitting image of Josh right there.
Me in a nutshell. Just the whitest guy on earth smiling.
That is funny. Well, actually, this one's a great one too.
Well, there you go. There's Smile McGee. This is the guy that walks into the room for auditions, right? Like, and that's what you want your headshot to do. I like to have a warm smile. Put everybody at ease.